Do you like Fortnite? Are you into the Fortnite storyline, commentary videos? This man that we're having on the show today, guys, has done it all in the Fortnite space, that being TediusX. If you know my channel, honestly, you probably know him. He is making great content right now. He's having more success than ever. It's amazing to see. And today, we are having him on the Get to Know series. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with too many YouTube channels, and welcome back to the Get to Know series, everybody, where we have a content creator, likely, I don't know if it's going to stick around the Fortnite space, but for the most part, Fortnite gaming, where we have somebody on and we learn a little bit more about them, what they like to do YouTube. We get YouTube advice from them. That's something that I know a lot of people want to get into a little bit. So I want to dive a little bit into that with Tedius, but most importantly, this whole series is about getting to know the person behind the camera, and that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be talking to Tedius. It is an absolute blast, guys. Go check out all of his socials that will be in the pinned comment and the description down below, guys. I will stop talking. Now let's get to know TediusX. Tedius, welcome to the channel. Actually, the first time.
Thank you for having me.
I'm glad you're here. I'm glad. I was hyping people up. I was hyping people up in streams and stuff that you were going to come on, and I know quite a few people were excited for it, which makes me feel good because I'm glad people are here.
Yeah.
I'm hyped for this series. But anyways, so introduce yourself, of course, a little bit more than your name. Share a bit of your background and what inspired you to start making content.
Okay, so I'm Tedius, as many of you might know. Australian, obviously. It's not a British flag. You see the Union Jack, it's not the British flag. I think what first inspired me to start doing content was passion for mainly like the Fortnite events and the storyline in general. But as that sort of, I guess, not died out, but, you know, there's been quite a lot of times where there's not much content in that space. So I think I decided to move over to commentary stuff because it's more so based on like my opinions, and there's just more within the Fortnite community. There's so many controversies with like all the creative maps and people getting fired and all sorts of things. So I think that's been a good source of content, and it's been interesting for me to cover, and people have been enjoying that. So yeah, that's pretty much the main motive behind it.
I was gonna ask you why you switched, actually, which I might as well ask that now. Like, so you just switched just because of like there was more to talk about?
I think it was a lack of interest and also a lack of like content in the storyline, because
so you didn't like the storyline as much anymore.
Nah, it just didn't. That sort of feeling that I had when I was first interested was gone, and I guess it was just hard to rely on something that was so, like, you didn't know when it was going to get updated. You didn't know if we were going to have, like, there were meant to be comics this year. There was meant to be events. We just sort of, it seemed like Epic cared about it less, so I did as well, sort of thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Would you ever get back into it?
Yeah. It depends. I've thought about it, because I'm like, I see all this stuff with how well some creators are doing, and I'm like, oh, you know.
Sorry about that.
That's a tough question. Yeah, no,
the content
all good.
Seems like it can get a little bit repetitive. Like, I know a lot of people are making like, oh, Midas is back, Midas is here. So that could be something to do with it too. Oh, I don't know, man, because actually, and I'll ask you about this too. Do you have any hope for the storyline with Charlie Wen taking over?
I did, but I thought at this point he would have shown a bit more. The thing is, I'm not sure if he's taking control yet. That's the thing I'm not too sure on, because I thought there was a clip when I was like, oh, Chapter 5 Season 1's when Charlie takes over. But obviously it's not that straightforward, or he hasn't started doing like story quests, or I thought there would have been a bit more of that. But yeah, I mean,
I thought he was going to take over for Chapter 5, like you said, but I know like some people have been talking about how he hasn't started yet, and I'm like, oh, that's news to me. So I actually have no idea when he's going to start. Regardless, I have a little bit of hope myself.
Yeah.
So
I like to have hope. I'm just not totally sure, you know, when his sort of era of the story is going to start. But if he can pull it off, if he can do what he's done with Marvel and everything else, then yeah, I'd say I have hope.
That's honestly why I have hope for it. Because like he comes in, this dude seems like he's really passionate about it. He seemed excited to start. So maybe he just hasn't started yet. But how long can we keep saying that for? You know?
How long can we say, oh, guys, don't worry, this season is not great, but the next one, it's gonna be the thing we've all been waiting for. Midas is coming back. It's just like,
honestly, the deadline for me personally is gonna be next season, because I'm giving them a pass this season because of all the new stuff that's been coming. Festival Rocket Racing.
True. Yeah, I guess that could have been somewhat of his. Although no, that was mostly Donald.
for the new stuff.
Wow. Mm.
Yeah, but I mean, like I'm
Like,
saying, there's a lot of stuff they probably have to take care of right now.
oh yeah, true.
So
Yeah.
that's why I'm giving them a pass for this season to have like no storyline. If it's not next
Mm.
season, I'm out. Like I'll still follow it and stuff, but
Yeah.
that I want to see something done from Charlie. But
Mm.
back to content in general. Did you always want to make Fortnite content?
Like, as in the whole time I've been making content, or just
When
in general, it's
no, like
always
when you
been.
first started about thinking about like getting on YouTube, did Fortnite make you want to make YouTube videos, or were you thinking about
Yeah.
being on YouTube for something
Oh,
else?
so initially I did just like I think it's what a lot of younger kids sort of do, where you just sort of post videos to just mess around a bit. And then I had a few on another channel that did relatively well. So I was like, okay, I could start getting into this. And I was for a while I had that I had like a Roblox craze. There were a few games on there that had like decent stories, so I just started covering those, and I was like, oh, okay, this is actually kind of good. And then I think it was the season 2 device event that happened, and I was like, okay, this game might have decent story to it. And then I think the turnaround point where I was really like, okay, I want to make content on this game and its story specifically was probably Chapter 2, Season 5. Like,
Interesting.
I'd still say to this day that sort of Season 5, late Chapter 2 era of story was just something we haven't really seen happen again. Like, there's nothing like it that's happened ever
Oh,
again.
dude, I loved it all the way from season 2 to
Yeah.
season 8. Like, oh my god, I even liked it up until coincidentally, actually, chapter 3, season 2. That's when
Yeah.
I was so invested that entire
That's
time.
when that season was so good. Like everything up until then, it was hard not to be invested, honestly. Like it was really good.
Dude, I know. So I have a bunch of friends that like have been in my real life for a long time who always play Fortnite
Mm.
with me, right? They've never been able to get in the storyline. They played every
Yeah,
day.
I have the same thing.
Every day.
Yeah,
I'm like, how do you guys not want to follow this? You guys like Fortnite. Like, I just don't
there was a
understand.
friend of mine when the Marvel season came around. There was a friend of mine who I've known for basically my whole life, maybe bar like a couple years, but he was getting super into the Marvel thing. He's telling me, like, "I'll watch all the movies." I'm like, "Can't you just then watch all the events and everything like that?" And he's like, "Nah, just play the game,"
I don't
which
get
is,
it.
I guess, it's fair enough. Yeah, I don't know.
It is totally fair enough, but I just don't get why you wouldn't want to. If you love this game, love playing this game, there's these map changes. It like takes 5 seconds to know why.
Mm,
I don't know, but I mean, like to each their own. But I do want
yeah,
to ask one more thing about YouTube, which is actually interesting because when I was thinking about what I wanted to ask you, I was like, oh my god, I want to ask him the same thing that I asked PBJ about this specifically because I've noticed, of course, and actually this is when I started watching you, the recent success you've been having with the commentary videos.
yes,
Walk me through
yeah,
that. I know you talked a little bit about your change, but like, did you expect that? Like, even the first video that blew up, the last I checked, I wrote it down. It was at 65,000 views. Your first comment, like, I'm not saying
yeah.
it's your first commentary video, but like the one that kind of changed everything
That was my first commentary video. Yeah,
ever.
it just, yeah. Oh,
Wow,
full commentary, like not story. Yeah, that was my
it
first proper.
it's interesting that you changed it one like for the first time, and it just
It
hit.
just did really well. I think that was more so a case of I just hit the topic at the right time and no one else was covering it.
I guess
Because
that can make
that
sense.
that video was about what was that video about? It was do you remember when the storyboard for the Fracture event released?
Mhm.
And there were people that were like, "Oh, this event could have been so cool," and and I was like, oh, "Okay, you know, it could have been decent." And I had a look at it, and I'm like, "Damn, this could have been actually really good." And I was on a call with two friends on a stream, and after I got off, I'm like, "Man, I actually really enjoy just kind of talking," and I found that I felt a lot more passionate about doing something like that. So I'm like, "Okay, I'm just gonna go make a video on this." I didn't expect it to do well, but when I did, like when it did do well, I sort of understood why. And then I think that was just before the OG season as well. So when that kicked off, there was a whole wave of commentary
Hmm.
videos, and I was just like, okay, I sort of have to jump on this. So I did, and it just paid off. So yeah, I guess it wasn't intentional to do well, but when it started building momentum, I was like, okay, this is definitely something I can make use of, especially due to the time. Like there was a ton of different creators who were doing that sort of stuff.
Mm.
So yeah, I think it just really good timing, to be honest.
How are
Yeah.
you feeling when you saw that? Because I would imagine it brought in a ton of more attention.
Yeah, it definitely did. I was just feeling that because I always thought it would be quite hard to change from story to commentary videos, because as I'm sure you know, the Fortnite storyline fan base, they pretty much only seem to want to see storyline stuff. Like I still get comments now, oh, you know, when's your next video? There's so much storyline. I'm like, yeah, that's great. But
That's great.
I'm just like, that's cool. You know, you look into it and send me your notes. I'm not doing that. But
I
I
still enjoy
think
following it.
I I just don't know what there is to follow. I do admittedly I watch PBJ and um I guess a bit of top 5 game videos, but he doesn't do too much of it anymore. But
Yeah,
I
PBJ's
still
going hard in the storyline, so there's
I
definitely
try.
still a community
He
for it.
Yeah, he's done awesome with that.
Dude, I'm so happy for him. He's been making videos like that. Like I don't know when did you start watching PBJ? Like was it recent?
I found him through you, through the Fortnite Everything,
Oh, really? That's sick.
Fortnite Everything podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, we're taking a little bit of a break from that because I was like, I reached out to PBJ and I was like, dude, I love doing this with you. So I'm just saying, you're hitting the algorithm right now. If you want to stick with that content for God knows how long, just do it. So we're taking a little bit of pause on that while he's on a high, which I'm like, he's been making videos that good since he started YouTube, dude. He's been like, he put like every little bit of ounce into his content. I'm glad it's just hitting.
I first saw. Maybe it wasn't. No, it wasn't the podcast. It was when. Do you remember when he had that theory about the cube cradle and the sun and the moon?
Yes, yes.
And I watched your video on that, and I was like, "Damn, this guy's actually really good."
Dude, he comes
And
up
I
with half
think,
those ideas
like,
himself.
it's so good. Like, I'm so glad that it's awesome to see when someone that you know should have been up at that point gets to it. It's just like that's so. It's so good to see.
Yeah, and he's still grinding.
Because
Dude.
yeah,
He's getting like he has the potential to make it like to one of the biggest creators. Like at the rate that he's going, he's getting hundreds of thousands of views. So I'm happy
really,
for him.
really well.
But I want to dive back into your channel. Where did you have anything else to say on that topic? My apologies. We went off a little bit.
No, not really.
Okay, so I want to ask: were there any? I know like the love for the Fortnite storyline got you into it, but were there any streamers or influencers or anybody like that that kind of motivated you to want to make any content, or was it just Fortnite in general?
I think it was. It's mostly just Fortnite in general.
Interesting.
Like,
what about other games?
Yeah.
Did you ever want to make content on another game, another channel, or do you enjoy playing any other games in Fortnite?
Yes. So I did try for a bit on this channel. I highly doubt anyone who's watching this has seen it. If you have, I respect it, but I highly doubt it. I did make for a little bit. I did like a Halo series because I've always been quite into Halo, and then also Destiny 2. I haven't played the original Destiny. I think we got the disc for it like ages ago, but I just never really got into it. And then I think it was either during, this might upset you, but Primal, when I was really not interested in the game.
That's
I went and I was just like, I'm just gonna, see if I can do some other stuff. And obviously it wasn't only gaming, but yeah, I got quite into Destiny then, and then Halo's sort of always been a bit of a thing because I've had an Xbox most of the time that I've been interested in gaming. So pretty much those two are the only ones I still sort of do now a little bit. And then Roblox when I was growing up, and also Minecraft a bit, but not really anymore.
I think we all had our Minecraft phase. I still have Minecraft. But that's funny. Actually,
Minecraft sort of, it has like a bit of a resurgence in people's lives randomly.
Always.
Like, I don't know if that's just me, but
no, it's the 2-week meme. Everybody starts a new island with their friends.
Yes,
But honestly, I've always loved Minecraft. But it's funny because I grew up on Halo, actually. I'm a big Halo guy. I'm playing through all the campaigns again right now because it's been so long since I played them. But Destiny, I recently started playing with one of my friends. That game is beautiful. Oh my God.
Good.
I just find myself roaming around and looking at the scenery.
Yeah.
Instead of playing something else. I don't know, like I love looking at that stuff.
You're like, nah, I'm taking a look.
Do you ever do that in games? Like, do you like the artwork of those games like Destiny? So how do you feel about the Fortnite graphics then? The change.
Fortnite graphics, Chapter 5, I think, has a good balance of sort of, like, the lighting's really nice, but it still keeps that sort of, it still keeps the Fortnite feel, but it's realistic. And I feel like Chapter 4, sort of the whole reason they made the new chapter was, oh, look, new lighting, new whatever. And I didn't love Chapter 4 as a whole, so that's probably a bit of a bias against it there. But I think Chapter 5 has nailed it in terms of, like, the look of the game. And I didn't expect Lego graphics actually really good too.
Yeah, they are. They really are.
Like, when I was playing the event and I saw like the sun glare through that cave, I'm like, this is Lego. Like, this has no right to look this good. But I think for a game that's always been seen as pretty cartoony, they've done really well at making it realistic, but not too realistic. So yeah, I think they've found a really good balance.
It's
Not
interesting you
last
say
chapter,
that.
but this one's good. Yeah.
It's interesting you say that because I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that these new graphics capture the Fortnite feel, yet they're still good. Like I've never heard anybody say that before because I like the new graphics. I appreciate both. Okay, the OG and this one. I understand why somebody would like one more than the other. I personally don't care because I enjoy them both. But I would say that this season right now, it doesn't have that Fortnite-y feel to the graphics. It's like a new era of Fortnite. But I still don't personally think that it captures that old Fortnite feel. You think it does?
I don't know if it's necessarily the old Fortnite feel. I'm not.
I shouldn't have said that. Like,
Yeah, no.
you know what I'm talking about. Like
Like,
it's
yeah, no, I
screams
get what you
Fortnite.
mean. Yeah. I just think, to me, it still feels like it screams Fortnite, but it's like a new era of the game.
That's where I'm at with it.
I don't, yeah.
I love the snow. It's beautiful. Like that little forest at the top of the map right now.
I didn't even real. So obviously, I took the 3 week break where I didn't play anything because I was away. But I got back and I was playing with one of my friends, the guy I was talking about earlier a few days ago, and I was like, we were just playing. And first of all, I didn't know how the medallions worked. I didn't know anything about Chapter 5. So the first game I played with him, I was like, oh my God, this is actually really good. And then a few games in, we were on like this like slidey ice sort of area, and I was like, this does not look like it doesn't look. If you told me this is what Fortnite was going to look like when I first started playing, I would have told you.
Yeah,
No,
that's how everybody
like,
feels about Fortnite. You know, the lobby memes.
It's just crazy, like how far it's come and how different it looks, but how fun it can still feel. Like I know there are a lot of people that are like, oh. Like, we don't want the change, just give us OG. If we had OG permanently, we'd get bored of it, and then people would complain and say the same thing. So just like, I think just enjoy that there are genuinely parts of the new game that are awesome. There are parts that suck. Like I know you've said a decent amount about the locker UI, that's horrible. But there are parts that you can just take in and go, man, this is amazing that the game has gotten to a point where it looks like this, or it can have Peter Griffin or everything else. Like
I love that personally. Everybody, there's so many people that just want it to be a flat map. I appreciate the evolution as well. But you just mentioned your vacation. I wanted to ask you about this because I wanted to ask you about like stuff like advice you would give to other people making content, because obviously you're on a path to success right now, or you could argue you're already completely successful, right? How do you feel about this? Because I'm not sure what to think myself, to be honest. Taking a break from content, because you just said you were off for 3 weeks. Did you notice? Did you notice that affect you at all, or like, do you think it doesn't matter? There's so many different things being said by people when it comes to that.
What effect in terms of like performance, or
do you think like people would take off from your channel? I know everybody has their kind
honestly, I see. I have never really. Now this is probably not exactly a good thing, but my channel hasn't exactly built much of a sense of like a community. Like there are there's like probably a couple hundred people that are consistent with it, and I guess in a sense that is a community. But the bulk of my views, because they're sort of very topical things, I find they come from new people anyways, so it doesn't really matter.
Interesting.
Like it doesn't really matter. I don't need to post to keep a certain group of people interested. Like it's just that general audience who are interested in that topic. Anytime I post a video that is on a topic that they care about at the time, it seems to do well. And I actually think the break in a way worked well, because before I left, I made 2 videos that didn't perform very well, probably because they were rushed out. Like I just kind of wanted to get something out, so I wasn't leaving it for a month or even longer, right? So yeah, for me that doesn't affect it, but for people whose channels are like community based more so, I think it definitely can. But yeah, I don't think there's any harm in taking a break if you can still check in with the people. Like you can make community posts, you can do small things to keep people entertained. Like I did I think over the break I scheduled 14 or 15 community posts just to go out, just to let people know what the plans for the channel were next year, what I was doing, that sort of thing, just to keep those couple hundred people that were there for me and not the Fortnite topics or whatever, like sort of keep them interested in the channel so I didn't lose them. And then I came back, posted a video about stuff that people were interested, and it was all good.
I love to see
So
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I never knew what to thought myself because I've never taken my foot off the gas personally. I just make it a routine part of my day.
Yeah.
So yeah, because
Well, yeah,
I've heard a
you've got
lot of
like
people.
so many channels.
Yeah, I enjoy just talking, man. That's why I understand the love for commentary, dude, because I just yap completely.
It's good to just talk, you know?
Yeah,
It's good to like have a conversation with it's like I think Clark put it really good. He said it just feels the videos feel so much more genuine when you're not like doing like because I used to have a problem where I do like the YouTuber voice and he pulled me up on that. Like he's like, no, none more of the Fortnite storyline is it's just like okay. Just have a normal conversation with them
yeah.
and it feels way more genuine.
I used to like I don't know because I don't think I necessarily had the YouTuber voice, but it took me a while to like actually get comfortable and feel like because now it's like no problem. I just talk to my camera, I'm all good. It's
Yeah.
just like I'm talking to another person, but I don't know what it was. It took a while for me personally because I think I was just yelling and talking too fast, trying to remember to get my points
Yeah.
across. Sometimes every
Mm.
once in a while I'll have like points on my screen because sometimes, dude, I talk for way longer than I should, and then I have to like
Yeah.
keep myself good with some points there. Like, oh yeah, I have to touch on that.
Yeah. Some guidelines. Yeah.
Dude, I completely understand the love for commentary. So, speaking of content, still, I do want to ask because, of course, there's a lot of people, especially in the Fortnite space, gaming space. There are a lot of people who
Mm.
want to become creators. Do you have any advice
Yes.
or a biggest piece of advice for somebody thinking about getting into it?
Biggest piece of advice? Um, I think in terms of there's probably two things. Don't think that like there are a lot of people I've noticed in content that are in denial to the fact that they need to make changes. I think it's because they're afraid of making like a big change in terms of content. Don't be afraid to do anything like that. Don't be afraid to jump on a call with someone you've met through YouTube and take their advice. Don't be afraid to change your thumbnail style. Don't be afraid to change anything. Because I feel like for a while I was sort of at a point where I had just stuck with the same thing and I sort of it's not like I wondered why it wasn't working. I sort of got to that point I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna just have to be satisfied with how this is working. Because I was afraid that if I made a big change, or not really afraid, but I was like, if I do make a big change, like change thumbnail style or to commentary, which I've done both and they've worked really well, but I was like, oh, this could ruin my story, like my presence in story community, it could ruin the people that I know through that might drift away. It did none of that. I think the people that you meet through content are also, that's another thing. There's so many awesome people you can meet through content. Like, the amount of things that I've learned just in the couple of years of doing this, and especially talking to people that are a lot older than me, I thought it would be a bit weirder. Like, that was definitely a change as well. But I'm just like, it's just good to relate to people that have a similar goal and want to do a similar thing. And you can learn from those people and just, yeah, don't be afraid to make changes and take constructive criticism as well. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love to see that. Okay, I know you told me this, and please, if you're not comfortable saying this, that's totally okay.
No, it's fine.
Remind me how old you are.
14.
14. I wouldn't have guessed that. Like I remember it was way young, definitely younger than
14
18.
just on January 1st as well.
I don't think you look 14 to be honest with you.
What, younger or?
I thought you'd be like closer to 18.
Yeah,
Period.
okay.
And,
A lot of
and
people,
especially
a lot
like
of people mainly say it because of my voice. Like that's
yeah, I
mainly
guess
what
so.
people
Like
say.
you just sound so well structured in your videos. You don't sound like a 14-year-old man.
That's why it's kind of nice for me to talk to people that are older because a lot of the time I feel like the people around me, I'm just like, okay, the conversations sort of feel a bit not immature, but I don't know if you know, like
I get what you're feeling.
I feel like my interests aren't really suited to, and I guess the way people have said the way I carry myself isn't really a 14-year-old sort of like it's
Dude,
not.
this
Yeah.
conversation has not felt like I was talking to a 14-year-old. I don't know if
Oh,
you'll know how old I am, but I'm 26.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I found too with like getting older, like so around my age, like the age of people matters a little bit less when I speak with them, especially like start
100%.
talking about like YouTube and stuff. Like PBJ, I know PBJ is 17 and he gives me YouTube advice constantly. It's like I don't know, like
Yeah.
the age doesn't matter to me. We're all doing the same thing here.
Yeah. I remember when Clark first called me about a year and a half ago, he was asking me about like views and whatever. And he said that he was like 20. Yeah, I'm like, I'm giving advice to someone who's lived on the planet double as long as I have. I'm like, that's at first it was weird, but then at first my parents were like, it's weird too. Like they were like, you
I mean,
know,
it's understandable skepticism.
it could be a concern initially, but like it hasn't really been a problem. Well,
Mhm.
it hasn't been a problem at all, actually. But yeah.
Yeah, like I know my mom used to get so uncomfortable back in the day when I was playing like COD on Xbox and I was a little kid talking
Mm.
to these like adults
It's like
playing
you can't
Surge.
go on voice chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad was okay with it. He's like, don't you dare say our address. Like that was pretty much it,
Mm.
right? But yeah, it's you have so much experience for your age, right? You know
Yeah.
what you're
Thank
talking
you.
about.
Yeah.
You've been doing it for so long. Why wouldn't anybody take advice from you, honestly?
Mm.
So, dude, guys, anything TD's saying, man, you guys got to take that into consideration. The channel's doing fantastic. Speaking of content still, though, another thing that people always
Mm.
run into is hate. I want to know if you run into any hate, and if so, how do you deal with it?
I'd say it's more so been in person than online, to be honest. Like, I think I've copped more for it for being a Fortnite YouTuber at my school
Oh,
than I
I can see
have
that.
online.
I didn't think about that actually because
But
yeah, Fortnite's been at the
look,
point now where it's like not the coolest thing anymore, right?
100%, yeah.
Oh, that must be
But
tough. I never
look,
thought about that.
yeah, look, in a certain sense, it's a bit weird. It's a bit weird sort of having that like I go to school. It sounds like a like Spider-Man separate identity sort
You're
of
good,
thing, but
dude.
that's not. Um, it's like people don't see it for what it is. It's just a kid wanting to make content.
Hmm.
Like people more see it as not really something to poke fun at in a genuine sense, but some like it's been a joke for a while. It's like, oh, he's tedious or whatever instead of what my actual name is or whatever. It's fine. But I think I've found more people have poked fun at it more in actual life than they have online. I've had a few people with the commentary stuff that have been like, I guess, like disagreeing with me, but
Yeah,
that's kind of obvious.
you
Like that's
mean
gonna happen.
did you run into people like not liking the change at all?
Yes,
How was that?
yeah, quite a few. There were people. I think my younger audience. I think we were talking about this a few days ago, actually. The ones that constantly message are like, oh, I hope you get. Like I saw one on Twitter today, and this guy pinged a ton of people and goes, "Oh, these people are the people keeping me interested in the storyline," and it included me. And then he pinged me again in another thing and goes, "I hope Tedious comes back to storyline content." I'm like,
I mean,
yeah,
yeah, we were talking about that, but I mean, like, it's coming from a good place. That, but I mean, like, legitimate. Like, do people ever like leave nasty comments and stuff? Because I
not
would imagine
look
that some
very
people, at least,
occasionally.
yeah. But that's good though, because the way I was kind of thinking from it, because like maybe you would have something to do with it, because I would imagine that there's some people who like selfish. I want to watch what I want to watch. Tedious better make the content that I want. I'm only
Mm,
storyline. I was curious if you ran into any of that, but if not, that's great.
not much, no.
But I never thought about that for real life though, because
Mm.
I should be thinking about that more though, to be honest, especially because you're in
No,
school,
it's
right?
fine.
I
Yeah.
uh I don't share this with anybody personally unless it's like a close group of friends of mine, which like I don't want to like, hey, look at me, but like I have a lot of friends that know about this, but
Yeah.
I mean people that I've worked with, not a clue. There's a lot of like
Yeah.
people that I've not necessarily acquaintances, but people I don't keep up with. I keep it a little bit private, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I never really. I guess I should think about that more. People, yeah, most people probably do share. They
The
do
thing is,
YouTube.
I didn't intentionally tell people.
Did
It
they
was
find it?
in no. So it was this one girl spread it to everyone, which was really annoying. But basically we were in this like get to know thing at the start of school, and she basically found they asked like what's something interesting about you, and this kid that I had gotten to know over a few days was like, oh, he has a YouTube channel, it's TediusX, blah, blah, blah. And this one girl found it. She's like, "Oh my god!" And she showed her friends. She's like, "Oh, 12,000 subscribers, whatever I had at the time." And then they all didn't shut up about it. And then everyone just kind of found out from then. So it sort of just became a thing because I told like a couple of people, and then they were like, they saw the subscriber count, even though it wasn't that much at that time. But they were like, I guess they thought it was cool, and
Hmm.
they were like, oh, "Okay, I'm gonna tell everyone about it." So yeah, I didn't intend it getting out, but it
So
did,
is it
and
a good thing as well as it can be annoying sometimes?
yeah, it can be annoying. Sometimes it's mostly just in a joking way. Like it hasn't really it hasn't really negatively affected me. Like there are some people that think, "Oh, that's weird. He's weird for making content." But those people, I'm like, okay, I don't really want anything to do with you anyway, if that's
Yeah,
what you're gonna base it off.
I know. It's
Most
so
of those are the
strange.
kids that are like, oh, blasting their music and playing like sports in front of everyone. Like, oh, look at me. It's just like I don't want to do with that anyways. So
Yeah, I get what you
I
mean.
don't. I just sort of accept my interests are different, and that's fine. Like I don't really mind sort of being a bit not different, but being not your stock standard kid. Like I do certain things, like I do content. I'm a lot more into music, like playing music and whatever, than sports and whatever. And I think, yeah, I've just sort of gotten used to that. And most of the tedious stuff at school is like a joke. Like it's
Good.
not.
I
Yeah.
mean, like the fact that you're different, it's in the best way possible because you're succeeding in a
Hmm.
content era. That's awesome. Like the
Yeah.
amount of work that that takes is incredible.
Yeah.
But there. Oh man, I just had something to build off of that, and now I'm losing my train of thought. Holy, you're talking about
You're
the
good.
joking. My friends, it's
Yes.
so I find it hilarious myself because I know my friends like they completely support what I do, right? But they
Mm.
constantly joke with me, or like if I say something where it's like, "Oh my god, YouTube money's gone to his head. This guy too good for us." Like if I'm like, "Hey, I can't go out today," you know.
Yeah.
So I understand the jokes, but it's like all nice and lighthearted, right? So
Yeah.
I find
Yeah.
that
100%.
I find that really funny personally. So
Mm.
I do want to talk about plans though. What do you want from your channel in the future? Are you
I
just kind
was
of
also
going with it?
talking. No, I do know. So now I've sort of gone away from just doing it for Fortnite storyline, obviously. I think what I eventually want to do, and this is very far ahead in the future, but what I want to do is have like a director role in entertainment industry. That's sort of what I
Ooh,
want to do.
that's
So I
huge.
don't know if you've seen, I've made a few videos where it's like I've gotten together teams of like voice actors and
Yes,
we've got a
yes.
few music guys and that sort of stuff. That's sort of once I build enough of I guess enough of an audience, like a consistent audience, like I was saying before, I get good views, but it's based off new people coming in for topical stuff. Once I get a group of people that are interested in content because it's me making it, not just because it's like Fortnite in general or Fortnite story or whatever it might be, right? I think I want to branch off into sort of still appealing to the Fortnite audience, but telling my own stories because I've also been super into writing for ages. Like I used to write, my grandfather was super into writing and I used to like bring him like my short stories when I was younger and
Oh,
stuff. So he really inspired that passion. So I think, yeah, that's where I want to take it. I don't know if it will be as soon, like a thing that happens in the near future, but just making content like that that's more creative driven by what I want to do instead of just like Fortnite topics and whatever. But yeah, that's mostly
do you think you're
where
gonna
I'm trying to go
stick?
with that, if that makes
My
sense.
apologies, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, that's all
Um,
good.
do you think that you're gonna stick with Fortnite content, or is that something you also want to do?
Yeah, I think I will, as long as the game is like has some sense of a community. Like I know people always say, "Oh yeah, it's dying" or whatever. It never has been, and it won't for a while. So until that really does happen, I'll probably stick with it. Obviously, there might be some stuff that slows down content in general, like maybe the later years of school, I might lay low on it a bit. But
Hmm.
I think as long as I'm making content, I'll still probably be doing something Fortnite related. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm convinced that this game's going down like Minecraft, dude. It's always gonna be there no matter what.
It's always going to have some following.
Yeah.
You know,
And if they
like,
continue making those modes like the rocket racing and stuff like that, I want to make a video talking
and
about the idea
I
of them
think they
having a
will.
fighting game. Like the amount of things that they could
Oh,
come in, take the Wii Sports stuff, like Mario Strikers, they can like take in a bunch of mini games. What if they like actually just take over video games, period? With the way Unreal Engine Fortnite's going,
yeah. I think if they sort their creative situation out, that could happen.
they will
I think
eventually.
I think there needs to be some. I think Tim Sweeney needs to stop blocking everyone.
Apologies, everybody. We had a quick interruption. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Fancy little transition there. But anyways, Tim Sweeney needs to stop blocking everybody. You said and get on fixing
Yes,
creative.
he needs to get on fixing these African zone wars and everything else needs to get rid of them. I saw you guys playing the maps the other day. I was like, oh,
Dude,
this is a mess.
oh,
Like-
I was talking for anybody watching this. Clark had us do a live stream. He's like, "Oh my god, we're gonna play all these maps that everybody's mad about," and I'm like, "I can't." Like, what am I supposed to do? That'll get me get booted off YouTube real quick. So I literally titled my stream like, "This is not my idea," which it wasn't.
Yeah, yeah.
But they'll get a hang of it. Oh, I almost unplugged my own mic. Now I'm having my own issue here. Yeah, I'm convinced with creative, it's gonna get better as time goes on. I was thinking like 5 years down the road.
Yeah.
But I did want to talk about branch off a little bit for the writing. You're really into writing. Did you mean that you wanted to do more of the videos that you've already made, or do you actually want to like get into writing for like straight up movies and stuff?
I'd be down to make like the videos that I've made so far. They've been super fun. I'm still happy to do stuff like that. But I think a bit of both, to be honest. Like I've talked about with a few people doing like animated series for
That's hype.
a few of the stories that I've fleshed out a bit more. We're trying to work on something like that route. It's obviously difficult to find someone who can do that and contact them and set that all up. I've contacted a few people. Some have shown interest, some haven't. So I think that's probably going to be the thing that's difficult to sort out. But if I can do both sort of this video style that I've done already, and then also a bit of animated stuff here and there, and like shows and whatever, I'd also be really, really excited to try out something like that. I think that'd be good.
I know this is a touchy subject, so please tell me again if you're not comfortable talking about this because you're talking about people's work. Would you consider diving into AI, assuming that it does progress into the point where it will create your story that you write?
No.
You would never?
No.
It sucks, man, because like I've talked about this on my channel.
Story? Do you mean
let's say the story you want to animate. It'll animate
Right.
for you. Would you dive into that? Because that way it's just right at your fingertips.
Okay,
It would be easy to make content.
Yeah. I thought you were saying like writing for me. No.
Oh, no.
But
yeah, I mean like if
yeah.
it were to make
Okay.
a animation for you.
If it became a more accepted thing in content, like I know it's not really right now. People are like, oh, they see one, like there's been this picture going around of top 5 game included like a AI Ninja Turtle thing in their thing, and everyone's like, oh, freaking out, like, oh, you can't make AI art. Well, it's not your work. I don't personally see a problem with tiny stuff like that. Like, I'm like, that's fine. If it becomes accepted as a thing that people can use to make content, I do it. But to avoid, as you said, since it's a touchy subject, to avoid getting into stuff like that, like drama of, oh, too lazy to make your own animation, find someone to do it.
That's what you'd be met with.
But yeah.
It's really tough because I'm actually going to do this myself because I don't know like if I've talked about while you're watching a stream, like I'm not saying like you have to know anything, but I've talked about like the idea. I just for some reason, and I can't write, so I've been fascinated by the idea of other people's work. Like I wish that I could come up with a solid story like somebody else, but one just came to me. So I was like, oh, what if and it was about Fortnite. So I was like, I want to make a video about this. So like, what if the storyline went in this direction? It's just like, I had one of those days, and I'm sure you as a writer have those
like that.
Where it just flows. I had that, and I've never had that in my life. So I was like, okay, I have something solid here. I want to make it into a video. And the way I was going to do it was with AI, just make different photos or like just pictures,
like images,
zoom into the picture and then to the next picture. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be straight up an animation or anything, but that's the best way for me to tell a story. And then I'm sure that I'm going to be met with oh, you need to commission someone. I'm like, do you know how much it could cost to commission somebody for one picture?
It does cost, yes. It does cost a lot.
So I've always been of the opinion where I'm personally like, I don't like any of this, but I'm adapting because I'm not like, there's
100%.
It's here.
Yeah. I would definitely much rather someone do it for me, like have someone actually who is a respected anime or whatever, not even respected, but someone who has genuine skill,
Yeah.
have their skill, because one, I get to put my story out there, and I get to give them some, look at this person can animate and it's amazing, and they can't just be replaced by something that you can do in like 10 seconds. Like
Yeah.
I think that's the problem I have with it, is that it's sort of it goes, okay, regardless of skill, we can create this in a few seconds, so why bother getting someone to do it? And I'm like,
It's
I'd
sad.
prefer. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
sad, but it's here. Like I have AI do all my shorts now.
Oh yeah, you were saying that too,
It's
yeah.
it saves me so much time. It's crazy,
Mm.
dude.
Is
But
that free?
no, I pay
Like
for it.
that does that all? Oh,
In
okay.
Canadian, it's $50 a month, but for me personally, it's worth it. Pump the
Okay.
amount of shorts that I pump out, dude. It
Yeah,
beautiful.
that's true.
Instead
Yeah.
of finding the little gameplay pieces that I want, hey
Clips and
AI,
putting them
watch
together,
this.
yeah.
What do you think will do best?
What do you think is good? Yeah.
Captions it for you, everything, highlights words. It's wild how
Mm.
far it's come. So I think it's gonna come to a point where you'll be able to actually like create your stories and come to life because it's been so
Yeah.
fast.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I've always been interested in the like stories and stuff like that. I've gotten to it so much recently. Do you have a favorite like book or show that you've loved writing for? Do you like writing yourself or do you like other people's stories as well?
A bit of both. Like, I think I've I'm honestly not very consistent with reading at all now. I'm trying to get more into it again. I used to be super into it, but favorite, I think Star Wars is probably up there.
Yeah.
Like
What
I was
which
not
type of Star Wars do you have a favorite like I'm all Clone Wars personally.
Clone Wars,
I
really?
loved it. I loved it. It's my
Okay.
favorite thing to ever come out of Star Wars.
I couldn't get into it just because of how many episodes there were, to be honest. Like
That's
me and my
understandable.
dad tried watching it. He's like, let's just go back to the live action. This is not
Yeah,
like he was not.
the first couple seasons are a little bit rough, but they're nostalgic to me because when the show first came out, like they were hyping it up, like
Mm.
Star Wars animated series, and I watched it with my mom when I was a little kid, so I felt really
Oh,
happy
yeah.
watching it when I got older.
Yeah.
But sorry, what were you saying about like which you like?
I think
You're young. Are you a sequel kid?
no. No. No, I promise you. No, I went to those movies. I was like, this could be a lot better. I think I don't know if prequel. I quite like the prequels, but I don't know.
I love him too.
I think prequels. Yeah,
I've always said Anakin Skywalker is like one of my favorite developed characters of all time.
100%.
But you know
Plus
what?
the way,
Go ahead.
like the order that they filmed that in is so interesting. Like I love how they sort of did first three and then I don't know. I've always found that interesting how the main character of the actual first movies was the son of the main character of the
Yeah,
like prequel first. Like I just love that idea. I think it's
agreed.
really good.
Agreed. You know what just
Yeah.
actually topped it for me? I just finished Attack on Titan, and that just topped it for my favorite show, favorite characters, everything now that it's over. Have you ever seen that?
Really? No,
Oh,
I
it's so
haven't
good.
watched much anime at all, to be honest.
I've just started
I
getting into it
did
the
watch,
past couple of years.
yeah, I did have a friend a few years ago that bugged me to keep watching Naruto. I was like, okay, I'm gonna give
Oh,
that a go.
that's
That was pretty good.
isn't that long? Isn't that like
Yeah, oh,
like 500? Am I thinking of a different show? 500
I
episodes or
think you
something like
may
that?
be.
Oh, maybe
No,
maybe
it
it's One
could.
Piece or
I think
something.
there's multiple series. One Piece has a ton of
That might
episodes.
be what I'm
Yeah,
thinking of. Never mind. Because I know like every time someone suggests
I
like
think
one.
Naruto's split into series, so I only watch like one or two of
Oh,
the
I see. I see.
however many episodes. Yeah,
I have a rough time committing to shows that are like really really
yeah.
long. So I get happy when it's
Mm.
like that's why I also like the anime shows now because they're like 20 minutes before bed I can watch one.
Yeah,
That's just me though.
yeah,
But I do want to talk a little bit more about you. What do you do in your
yeah.
free time when you're not making content? I know you mentioned music and writing. Is there anything else? I did want to ask you that before you mentioned it.
Um, I think so I used to do. I've seen you do. Oh, what was I about to say?
Where
I
you
just
say
completely
I
lost my
do?
train of thought. Sorry. I've seen. Oh, what was I about to say?
I just had that issue like 2 seconds
I
ago.
just completely lost my thought. Oh, what you just mentioned about like the fighting thing. So I used to be quite into like boxing.
Oh, really?
Um, yeah, but I used to do it with my dad, and then he started working like way more. So we're gonna try to get back into that now that he's got some more free time.
That's awesome.
So I think boxing, bike riding quite a lot.
Nice.
Uh Also just I don't know if this is really a passion, but like the gym, I've been into that for a while.
That's always a good thing.
Um
Would you ever, out of my own curiosity, because I can talk about fighting
yeah.
all day,
Is it MMA? Is that what you're gonna
yeah.
ask?
Well, no. Would you? Yeah. Would you ever consider doing something a little bit more than boxing? Would you ever consider going into like? Is your dad?
Yeah.
Did your dad train?
I think
Well, I mean, obviously he trained,
no,
but I mean,
no.
well, what are you
He's
doing there?
not like properly
No, no,
trained.
no. I mean,
We're
like
just sort
he
of
knows what he's doing if you're
oh.
boxing with him, I guess, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I meant, would you ever like consider like going into like an actual gym and learning more?
Um I think I'd have to be more experienced to be honest.
Oh no,
Like I don't think
no,
I No?
no.
You
They
don't
they
reckon?
take good care of you. I'm sure there's
Okay.
scumbag gyms out there, but like new people are so happy. Like when I'm such a big martial arts supporter, dude. It's crazy. It's so good for you. It's like amazing brotherhood. And there's just, oh, do you ever fight your dad or you just hit pads?
Um we've done a bit, but
Dude,
yeah,
there is
not
nothing.
recently.
There is nothing like a fight. How you feel afterwards. I was actually
Hmm.
okay. It's a little inappropriate, so I'm gonna like lightly glaze over it. It's funny.
Yeah, yeah.
Just this morning, because I just started teaching and I just got back from this. This is where I was before we were talking. I just got
Hmm.
started teaching. Like it's nothing super professional at a gym or anything. They just wanted somebody with martial arts experience, like a friend of a friend knew this person. I just started
Yeah.
teaching special kids kickboxing. And I was
Oh.
getting all hyped up because I've been back into it and I've been out of the gym for so long right now. And I'm like, yeah, like it's so good. And it's like, now I want to fight somebody. Now I want to call
Hmm.
my buddy to come spar with me because that's what we do. And then
Hmm.
I just told my girl this morning, it's funny that we're talking about, I'm like, after you box, after you train or something like that, I swear to God, it tops like the feeling of, doing something special
Yeah.
with a girl.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm like, I like that so much more.
Told her
So
that.
it's so good. The endorphins you get, man, after a good fight. I love it. So let me know if you ever consider
Okay, I'll definitely.
doing a little bit more.
Okay,
But
I will. Yeah,
one more thing, just boxing. Are you not interested in anything else?
pretty much just boxing, because I don't know. I don't know if he knows much else. Like I think it's just the general thing of it was to get some fitness, and then also if you ever need to get into like a fight, whether it's on a small scale or whatever, you know what you're doing. That's the general. That's the main reason that we did it.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
Yeah. It's like I said, dude. It's an amazing thing. I love to see that.
yeah.
But what about? Oh, how about this? What if TDS ever gets invited to a YouTube boxing match?
Boxing match.
I've been
I thought
asked
you
that
might ask
actually.
that.
I've been asked that.
I'd be down, but I'd have to train a lot more.
How funny would that
Like
be?
I'd have to.
I,
That would
I've
be really funny.
I've actually thought about like what if one day, because you remember how viral all those videos went with Ninja and Tifu, like what if they boxed? What if
Yeah.
we all get to a point there where we can have like
That would actually
Fortnite
be really
creators
funny.
box? That'd be awesome. Who do you think's the toughest
Mm.
Fortnite creator out there? Who do you think would win if you had like a
What out of us,
tournament?
like this circle of people,
Nah,
or
anybody. Who's a really good Fortnite creator?
the toughest Fortnite creator?
I
I
actually
did
forgot
not
about
expect
that.
you to ask this, to be honest.
You know what's funny is I actually forgot about that until it just popped in my head that we were talking about it. Remember the Ninja and Tifu beef? Everyone was like, yeah, you guys got to fight. You got to
Mm.
set up some YouTuber boxing. That would have been hilarious. Like
Yeah.
Tifu obviously now would probably kill him, but
I'd,
at the,
I'd actually be interested to see like the Nick and sort of Cypher group do something like that. I think that'd be funny.
sorry about that, guys. One more interruption. I was going to say that I know Nick 830 has martial arts experience, but I don't know to what extent. So
Mm.
could Nick 830, again, like I don't know if I know he trains or trained, but Nick 830 is not like the little baby that the internet
He's not the
pretends to.
person. Yeah, he's not the one that everyone would expect
Actually,
to
now
get
that I
into
think about
something
that,
like that.
I might bank on Nick 830. He's young too, right? Well, I mean young, like as in like compared to
Younger, yeah.
he's like late 20s if I had to guess.
Mm.
That's a prime. That's pretty good. But anyways, enough about fighting. I can talk about that all day. I want to talk about a week of beating tedious. What does that consist of?
A week of what, sorry?
Being tedious. Just you.
Oh, being teams.
Not like Fortnite specifically. I mean like
Yeah,
what
yeah.
do you do in your personal life?
So, I think what's a good way to describe my life? Well, right now, because I'm not at school. I think I'm getting, and I know you've talked a lot about on the other channels like self-improvement sort of stuff. I've gotten very into that recently.
Awesome.
Like I did do for a while the whole cold shower thing. That is hard to commit to, I'll be
Oh,
honest.
I
Like
keep I swear to God,
I
I
know
have
you
like
said,
two
yeah.
cold
I was
showers a
watching one of
week.
your,
I can't do it. Like I
I
don't.
saved one of your videos on the plane because I just saved like a ton of videos, and I
Mhm.
saw you were like, oh, I just can't get into the cold shower thing. I'm like, I'm gonna have to, convince him, but um. Yeah, it's hard to dedicate to. I do try to start a morning like that if I can, one, wake up early enough, and two, like, just be bothered. Like, sometimes I just can't get into it. I also mentioned as well before, I've been trying to get into like reading a lot more, and then pretty much every day for minimum maybe an hour, I'm playing music. Like, I absolutely love it.
That's amazing.
Like even when we were away, we were in Switzerland, and there was this piano in the airport, and we had to get home, and we had been out for like so many. We actually had gone up to like one of the mountains, and we spent a whole day there. And I got back down, and I was like, "Oh, can I please just play?" And they're like, "Yeah, that's fine."
It was just a
So I
piano in the
sat
airport.
there. Yeah,
Oh,
they
that's
have
sick.
like public. I don't know if you've seen. Have you seen like those TikToks where there's someone playing piano,
Yes.
and then someone
Oh,
will come up and be like, "Oh, do you want to join in or whatever?" Have you seen
yeah,
stuff
I
like
have.
that?
I like those videos. I never
Yeah,
thought about that. I never thought about how that piano gets there, but I guess it's for people to use.
yeah. So while I was playing something in the piano in Switzerland, this guy actually came up to me and he goes, "Oh, what's the song that you're playing?" And then he pulled up his phone and looked it up. He's like, "Oh, it's in a different key." I explained to him what I've done. And then randomly within a few minutes, me and this guy are just playing together. I'd
Oh,
never met him ever. It's such a cool
dude,
experience.
it's
That's
it,
one of the things I'm really glad that I've gotten into that, like,
music's amazing.
yeah,
I
music in
I
general. Yeah.
love the sound of the piano myself. I've tried to learn the piano a few times like growing up, but it just never came to me. I don't know. I never stuck with it. Plus,
I
I'm
think it's
convinced it's
always
also
been a
because I
thing.
have tiny hands. Look at the size of these things. I can't reach the keys.
Apparently I have quite big hands,
Look at those.
so
Like look at them compared to these little things.
yeah, that's true. Um, well, I think I've done it since I was 4, so
Well, I was gonna
I've
ask
pretty
what
much
instruments do you play? Is it just
always
piano?
piano, guitar. I did drums for a bit, but yeah, that never really stuck nearly as much as the other ones.
The other ones are
Um,
honestly
yeah,
more
mostly
beautiful.
piano and guitar.
Okay,
Yeah,
what about this? Do you? I know you like to write. Do you write songs?
not really. No.
What's
Um,
not really?
I've composed. Look, I've tried, but it's not something I really stuck with.
I guess that
Like,
makes sense. Would you
I
consider
guess
getting
that's
into
what.
it?
Not really. Um, if it was just instrumental stuff, yes,
Okay, I can
but
see that.
not like I would write songs for piano. I wouldn't write stuff for guitar,
I see. Okay, but yeah,
just
it's
because usually you sing with that, and I'm just like, I used to have the
you can't
confidence
sing.
to just sing and do whatever. I used to actually, we had this like talent show at my old school. I used to always go and just do whatever. I don't have that level of not caring what anyone thinks anymore, to be honest, which is
Yeah.
probably a good thing.
I
Yeah,
don't know. Like I see what you mean.
yeah,
But so you were talking about you get music, you're really into music, you're really into self improvement, you're trying to get into reading.
yeah.
Was that the end of it? What else do you like to
Reading,
do?
self-improvement. Let it make myself sound more interesting here.
You're good. Dude. I think it's going very well.
That's pretty
We've been recording for
much,
a while now, which
yeah,
is hype. I'm
yeah,
glad. You know, when I started these, I expected them because the first one I've only done it with PBJ so far. That turned out to be
yeah.
almost an hour, and I think this one's probably going to reach that too. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And people love the long form
Mm,
stuff. People are really happy just listening to the PBJ talk about himself. So I'm sure somebody
yeah.
with your subscriber base too. Like I've gotten, like people have been telling me they're excited, so we're good.
Well, I think that's pretty much. I mean, also listening to music is a big part of what I do, just to
Mhm.
relax, pretty much. But yeah.
Are you into Fortnite Festival then?
Oh, so I'm actually really good at that. I'm so surprised. But I was playing the other day, and I don't know, it was a weekend song, and it was like one of the pretty fast ones. I was playing, and my dad came in, and he just kind of stood there and watched for a while. And he's like, "How do you do that?" And I
I
was just like, I don't know.
I actually
Like,
tried to show my dad too. He's only a zero build player. My dad likes playing.
your dad plays,
Yeah,
really?
yeah. My dad plays zero
Oh
build.
wow.
He played a lot of Halo with me growing up, and he was also a fan of Titanfall. So zero build was
Oh
kind of
wow.
his thing,
Yeah.
and he's been loving Fortnite. But I tried to show him the new
Yeah,
stuff. I tried
my
to show him
parents are
Festival. He was
not
like,
into gaming at all.
my dad is. My dad and my uncle actually. We grew up playing Halo together all the time. My cousins too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I loved it. You can never get him into COD though. Tried to get him into Search, didn't work.
Mm.
He likes zero build. Why don't you like COD? That's what I'm like. That's what I'm like with my dad.
Yeah, because so many people are saying it's becoming like Call of Duty a lot more. So I'm like, oh,
Yeah, I've given up trying
I
to get
don't
him
know
to
if
try
I'll
other
try
games.
out. Yeah.
But that's really cool. One more thing before we continue moving on. Did
Yeah.
you notice the cold showers? Did they work for you?
Yeah.
Because I can't.
Yes.
Even when I've succeeded, I don't get
Seriously,
it.
so
It
much.
doesn't. Like I'm just cold. I understand it's like a
I had
mental
this,
win,
I had this
but
thing for a while where I was like, I was so dedicated to that whole thing. I would get up because the thing with my gym, it's got like teen hours, so we can't go at certain times. So sometimes, some mornings, it's only open really early. And there was a while where I was so dedicated to it, couldn't do it now. But I was like, oh, I would wake up at like 5. I would have a cold shower, and I'd just jump on a because I don't know if are trains a big thing over there, or is it just mostly like in
I
terms of public
mean,
transport, is it buses more or trains?
oh, definitely buses. But we do have trains. But
Okay.
I mean, like, what are you talking
So
about?
yeah,
Like,
our
like
main
subways?
thing is well, no, we literally just catch trains everywhere, like to
We
school,
just catch them?
to
I did not know that was a
yeah.
thing.
We
So
just we
no,
just jump on. We have like a card. We just tap and we just jump on any
really,
train. Yeah,
our train
yeah.
systems are like, and for anybody watching, I live in Canada, and you're in Australia.
Mm.
The flag.
Yeah.
No, I'm British.
Well, if you just see that,
I'm kidding.
yeah,
What was I gonna say? So yeah, our train systems are like airports. So it's like you have to book it. It takes forever. You're like,
I
okay,
found
this thing's
every
coming.
single one in Europe was like that
What?
as well, and we were like, this is so much less casual. This is really weird. But so for us, sorry, I'll get back to the point of
You're
what
good.
you asked.
No, talk.
So I would, for a while, I would wake up at like there was some mornings 4:30, 5, take a cold shower for a few minutes, get out, and I would just go and just have so much motivation to just. I just go in the gym for like an hour before school. I come out, I feel great. I'd just be like, everyone else was dreary, and I'd just be like, man, I'm having the best morning.
Well, I mean, the cold shower
So
definitely
I
wakes you
think
up. But
100%.
is it at
Yeah.
all? Because I know a lot of people talk about the mental win of just sticking in that cold shower like a cold plunge. Did that play any part of it for you?
Initially, yes, but after a while, it just becomes something that you just sort of do.
Yeah, I'm sure you build a
Like
tolerance to it, eh?
it loses that aspect of. I mean, now that I've taken a 3-week break, because my mum was super adamant, she's like, "Oh, you're not taking any of those cold showers while we're away. You're gonna get sick or whatever." It's like
Oh
6 degrees. I was like,
yeah.
that's fair.
Dude, it's been tough for me
So
too because
yeah,
right now it's I don't know if you guys do Celsius, but it's negative 25 for me right
yes.
now with a wind chill.
You serious?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Winter hit hard in January.
25.
So I'm coming out and I'm like, it's always in my head every single
That's
time I
okay.
take a
That's
shower, but
weird.
I'm like, I want to take a hot,
Negative
steamy shower. Yeah.
25. Okay. We had like a negative like a few degrees, and we were like, "This is cold."
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yesterday it was negative
25.
17 or 20, but now it's 25 today.
That's damn.
I
Okay.
feel bad
I
for
did not expect that
Yeah,
at all.
we can't
Yeah.
go outside right now, dude. For the first time in my life, because this is the only time in my life that I've had a beard this long. My beard turns into
Mm.
icicles when I go outside.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
well, not like the whole thing, but like there's
Yeah,
clear
yeah, but
icicles
just
from
like
it.
yeah, yeah.
It's so weird, and I feel bad for my puppy. I can't take her out, and she's bored just laying next to me. I play with her as much as I can, but we can't go outside right
Mm.
now. It's crazy. But
Yeah.
we've gone off topic. Still have a few things I do want to ask you. What about your
Yeah.
family? Are you comfortable sharing about your family? What do your parents do for a living?
So my mum has had a few different jobs. Actually, I'm just gonna close the door in case they come home. Thank you for reminding me about that. But
No problem. Welcome to the interview with the typhoon chair we got going on over there. I've gotten one of these like non-sweat chairs. I like them a lot more personally. I started talking about your chair.
you just in the gaming chair. Fair enough. Okay.
I had a gaming chair for a while, and I've gotten this like non-sweat one. Not that I'm sweaty, but like I like the airflow through it. I like these way better. I can't go back now. But nothing wrong with the gaming chair.
Yeah.
But your mom
So
has different jobs.
yes. So I think the thing that they've talked about is that they didn't really follow much. They didn't really have like an exact career path. So I think her early life was very much influenced by travel. If she wanted to go somewhere and get a job and work over there, make some new friends, whatever, she'd do it. She just sort of did whatever and enjoyed the younger years. So she doesn't like she has a good job, but it's not really a specific career that she's always aspired to have. I think she does too. She's got like just a normal office sort of thing. And then I think there's one oh, and she's also working as like an admin in like a school in a is it elementary school? Is that what it's called?
Yes.
I don't know. Yes, okay. So that's her two jobs. And then my dad has his own business of he doesn't like me to say salesman because apparently it makes him sound sketchy. I think it's sales rep. He said it is. I'm
Okay.
not entirely
Okay.
sure. But then he also does some like he does a lot of work like volunteering stuff, and he's also joined recently like this business that's like I think half of the profit goes to them and then half of the profit goes to like different charities
Oh,
and
that's nice.
that sort of thing. So yeah. So his business consists of basically him providing stuff for a ton of different companies, some of which are like charity based and others are just like normal like I don't know if that's a good way to describe it. Just like a lot of businesses that I guess would sell to retail, that sort of thing.
I get
So
that.
yeah.
But what about you? Do you have a career path that you want to do, or do you want to actually hope to make YouTube your full-time job?
I think if YouTube can be a start for the creative director sort of thing, and I can take that to a level where it's like profitable, then
Hmm.
I'd be I think I don't know if I want it as a career. Oh, look, if it works out and it's straightforward, but I understand that with something like that, it can be very difficult.
Mm.
I guess it just depends on how long something like that takes to build like a strong foundation for that. Because I feel like something with content making it a full-time thing is that at any point it's risky. Like it can be risky with, the topic that you cover, people losing interest in it, or something just doesn't hit for whatever reason. So I don't think content creation as a career would be really my thing, but if I can use it to sort of as a building block for obviously the other things I've talked about,
Mm.
that's probably more the direction that I'd head in, like something in the entertainment industry on a larger scale. But yeah,
I love
just
that.
depends if
I
that works out, But
Yeah.
yeah,
I understand completely how you feel because I intend on making this full time eventually, but not until a point
yeah,
where like I am ultra successful because I understand the risk
and you're
because
confident
I
in,
have a
yeah,
I have a day job now and like I get my pay from YouTube, and it's nothing astronomical. Don't get me wrong, but I have
yeah,
two channels monetized that I post on every day. My
mm,
the money that comes in from YouTube is okay, and I was like, what if I did
yeah,
this 8 hours a day? I want to, but then I'm like, it's so risky. I can't.
yeah,
I can't. I have a kid on the way. Like,
yeah, yeah.
so
That's definitely, yeah.
but what about staying on the topic of your parents? What do they think about when you started doing YouTube?
They were super supportive of it,
That's
honestly.
sick.
Like when they saw how it was working out, I think initially the payment thing they were skeptical of.
Hmm.
Because my mum was like, oh, giving them like the details or whatever, they like
Yeah,
sketchy. I'm like, Mum, it's such a big
it's
company.
YouTube.
Like it's YouTube.
Yeah,
She
I get
knows what
that.
YouTube is. I don't know why she was sketchy about it, but I think first off, we had this whole rule initially that it was like, oh, if you're not 13, you can't have a channel.
Hmm.
And then we were like, oh, but there's so many like kids that have channels or whatever, and we finally convinced them, and they
That's
said, okay,
nice.
no face and no voice until you're 13. So for a while, I did like the Google Translate sort of
Oh.
like that sort of route with content. You
Hmm.
can find that's probably not a good thing to say actually, because I don't want people finding that.
Well, now they just
But
have the old section on YouTube because now, well, since they added that, every once in a while I'll get a comment on like my first
yeah,
videos.
well, there you go. Secret revealed. So those videos are horrible quality, but they have like Google Translate voice in them. And then I think I got my first video. It was one of my early videos got like 4,000, 5,000, which is pretty good for starting off. And I
Hmm.
just told him, I'm like, this actually did pretty well. And then I told my dad, and then he talked to my mom about it because he's usually the one he's like, she was always supportive of it, but I think he was just like, yeah, just go for it because I think you can genuinely like if you just pursue at it and you know, persist. I
Hmm.
think that's more the word I was looking for. But if you just persist, I reckon it can take you places if you stay dedicated to it. And then when I started having the months where, because I had this one really weird time. So I made these two videos a while back. I think it was about the middle of not last year, but the year before. I went away on this school camp and I just posted these two videos purely for the sake of putting something out. Kind of like what I did with Europe, but a lot more successful. So I came back home and we weren't really allowed to like check phones or whatever. I came back and the two videos within 2 days had over, I think, 600,000 views combined. It was
Holy.
crazy.
How did you feel? How
And
did
I
that make
was
you
just
feel?
like, wow, it was amazing. It was so cool. So I told my parents because you know how it takes like a few days for the YouTube revenue thing to show up. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, I got these amazing amount of views, but I think it's gonna bring in some decent amount of money. And they were like, oh, okay, you know, sounds good. That sounds cool. Whatever. And then I told them how much it was, and my mom's, because she runs the account that has the money coming in,
Hmm.
and then she just gives it to me whenever I want to use it. But when she saw the amount that it was, she's like, "Okay, you do this however much you want." Like,
That's awesome.
yeah. So I think they always had faith in the fact that if I just stuck at it, you know, it could go somewhere. But when it started, you know, being a bit more successful, they were like, "Okay, just go for it," you know, like.
That's
I've never
awesome.
really had a problem with. I mean, I'm very lucky in that sense as well. That I know there's a lot of parents with their kids like, oh, don't do content, go like a mainstream sort of job. They've never been like that. So yeah,
It's tough because we're in a transition period, especially with parents. Like that, there's a lot of
yeah,
parents that don't understand that because you see it all the time.
yeah,
People, parents discouraging their kids. I'm not, of course, I'm not saying
mm,
this to your parents. You just said they were very supportive, but like it's
yeah,
weird because this is like such like a real thing to do now.
yeah,
It's crazy. So parents have their kids' hearts in it at the end
mm.
of the day.
Yeah. I completely understand why they would be cautious of doing something like that,
Hmm.
especially putting like when I want to do like the face and voice thing. My parents had to talk about that because they're like, oh, you know,
I get
you
that.
don't put out your name or whatever, and now a few people do know my name and whatever, but um, most people don't. Most people, I wouldn't assume most of my viewers know what I look like, but
Well,
I did do like a face reveal. Now they do, but I did do like a face reveal stream a while back, and I was surprised. There were like 50 people waiting for that to start. I was like, okay,
dude, it's
there's
fun.
actually
It's
an audience
crazy,
of
isn't it?
people.
Okay, well, I want to ask
Yeah.
about that then. Your face reveal. Were you scared? Were you? How you feel? How were you feeling through that?
Um, I was at a very good time in life in general, and I was just having an awesome time in general. So I was happy with however it turned out. I
Good.
think I just hit 10K. Oh yeah, that's the reason I did it.
Dude,
So
I'm so
yeah,
curious now
I just
because
hit 10K, and yeah, I think I was just glad. I mean, I've never had like low self-esteem or whatever, so I wasn't like, oh, people are gonna think I look bad or whatever. Because if
like
I
the
don't think I
dream
look bad,
situation.
people exactly right. They're not gonna say, oh, he looks like I don't know what character from Shrek it was or whatever, but I was like,
Wait,
you
wait,
know,
wait, wait.
I know
What?
there's a character from Shrek that everyone compared Dream's face
Oh, I
to.
thought you were talking about you. I was
I don't
like,
know.
huh?
No,
I know what you're
no,
talking
no.
about. The name's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
coming to me, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I was like, sorry, yeah, I should have given that more
You're good.
context. But I didn't really think I'd have to worry about any of that. Everyone was super nice about it, so yeah, it went really well, and I haven't really had anything go wrong. I mean, there have been a few people I've known in real life that have tried to come on and like reveal stuff. I don't know why they do that, but some people
Yeah.
just like to, I don't know. But those people we just deal with. I just get the people that moderate my streams to just like block them out, just make sure no one sees it. That's the thing with the Discord as well. People from school finding out about that can be bad because they can post. There's
Yeah.
yeah, people have posted photos of me to people that I don't want people to see, whatever. I'm
I
just like,
I believe
yeah.
that. Like, yeah, well, especially like like real life friends, dude. Everybody has like
Yes.
the worst pictures of you, especially with guy relationships. Like
Mhm.
I have albums of horrible pictures of my friends.
Yeah,
I'm really into Snapchat stickers. Like you take a
yes. I
horrible
had
picture of
that
somebody and then
with my
sticker it.
birthday this year. That was like I saw all the old people's stories of like full collages of photos I didn't know existed, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. But yeah, again, as I said with like the tedious thing earlier at like the school, it's pretty much only joking stuff that people have done.
That's
There's
good.
been no genuine hate or whatever.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
always worry about the jealous types
Yeah.
because especially
Yeah.
like
Look,
it's a
this.
really nice thing to do.
Yeah. But
But
if
something I do want to ask about your parents though. Like, what about your
yes,
siblings? Do you have any siblings?
I have one older sibling. He's 16. I think he wants to do sports commentary. I've been trying to get him
Oh, so
to
I was gonna ask if you inspired him, because I know siblings like to get into the
with the
content.
YouTube thing, definitely. He's trying to so the thing is, the thing that's frustrating about my brother is our mindsets are so different.
Uh oh.
So my whole self-improvement, discipline, commit to content thing, he's not about that at all. So he's sort of it's really it's frustrating trying to get him to start up with like content or whatever because I'm like you kind of need something out there as proof of concept that you one are dedicated to what you're doing and like you know what you're doing or whatever. And he's like, yeah, he's tried to get into it. So I've tried to inspire him, and I think the idea is appealing, but it's just the fact of actually getting him to stay committed to it that is the
Yeah,
thing that hasn't
it's a
worked
special
so
thing. But
well.
like honestly, I think I was thinking about this like halfway through. I didn't vocalize it, but after you mentioned that you're
Yeah.
really on self improvement, I didn't know like how like really deep into it you were, because I know you talk like I saw you in my video, which was really cool. So thank you for that, by the way. Um,
Oh no. Problem.
and I didn't know how deep you were into it. So I was like, this makes sense. He probably
Yeah.
consumes a lot of that content. He probably practices it because I feel like I'm talking to an adult right now.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
actually,
It's good to hear that. Yeah.
off stream, I want to ask you what you consume because I know like sometimes like certain self improvement tactics can be touchy. I'm not
Yeah.
saying you're into any of that. I'm not saying that. Okay, anybody watching?
I have been before, but I'm not anymore.
I'd be curious. I'm gonna ask you that off stream if you're okay with that.
Some more controversial people, yes.
Yeah, because like
Yeah.
you can take different practices from some people, but if like you know what I
Yeah.
mean, to be
I
people
think
will
as long
group
as
you
you
into
don't
something real quick.
as long as you don't become this has always been my thing with it, right? As long as you don't make your entire personality based off a certain influencer and you just take the bits that fit your morals and you still stay true to what you want to do and you pick up some other stuff that's clearly worked for some other people and you don't, lead into any scams or whatever. I think as long as you don't just go, oh, this person knows everything, which is very easy and a lot of people do
Yeah,
that. Like a lot of people like especially my
I
age.
was about to say that,
Like
especially your age when you're starting to, like when you're
yeah,
really starting to develop into those older years.
because you're like, oh, I can try this out. I can do intermittent fasting or I can do this. It's just like you shouldn't do all of that. Like, do some of it. Go to the gym, whatever. Don't overdo it. Don't be like David Goggins. Oh,
You
okay.
got to be
I
your
won't
own
actually touch
person.
any of that stuff. You
Yeah,
gotta be your own
that's why I was
person.
being careful because
I was
there's
about to
people
say,
that
but
will
I'm
group
like,
you in. There's people that will group you in. You
yes,
can say that like, oh,
I can say,
I'm a big supporter of
yeah,
PBJ, and if PBJ was a controversial
yeah,
figure, you'd be like, oh my
you're
god,
done. Yeah,
PBJ
you're like,
likes,
you're a horrible
yeah.
person. Yeah, cancel TediusX, guys. Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah. That's
that
probably a
one
better thing to
let's
talk
not
about
dive
off
into.
stream.
Let's
Yes.
get back into it. Well, I'm heading towards the end here of everything that I wanted to ask you, but I wanted to go back to YouTube and gaming for a second. What's your favorite video
Yeah.
that you've made? Do you have one?
Oh,
Not the best one. I don't care. Which one do you like the most?
one that I liked the finale to that series that I did. The
Of
finale to
the
that creative
oh, okay, I
series.
see.
It's called, I don't know if you've seen Reality One is the series that we did.
I've seen parts, but I haven't like followed the entire thing.
Yeah. Okay. So that finale probably was my favorite thing. One to work on, but also to like the reception that got was awesome. I had so many people messaging me like, "Oh, putting that together, the intro gave me chills. Like the map was so good. Like the support you see on something, I think especially when you start YouTube as something fully driven by one topic, it's really nice to see when you build a bit of that sense of community and you see that people are watching the content for you and not for the fact that, oh, it's the Fortnite story guy.
Absolutely.
And I think something that's definitely helped that is how I've changed. Not, I guess my niche is sort of the same because it's still Fortnite, but I've changed what like I'm focusing on in terms of story to commentary, and people have stuck with that. So I think when I made that video where I got all the voice actors, and it was like what I want to do as a job, but I got to do it on obviously a smaller scale, but I had a team of people. We had music producers. I had spent so long on like all these creative maps. We
I could
had this fully
imagine.
fleshed story.
I could
Everyone,
imagine,
I
dude.
seriously reckon, I don't know how much time, but probably not healthy. Yeah, it
Because I was
was
just working out, dude. Just
it,
making
it
strides for
was
the
that's
channel.
that's definitely my favorite video that I've ever put out.
I love that.
Like
Dude, to be honest with
so
you,
good.
that I completely understand that. But for the videos that like
Yeah.
everybody like spends so much time working on, like I was just talking to Cyan about this. Did you catch his like super 3.5 hour long video or however long it
I
was about the
watched the whole
Fortnite storyline?
thing.
I did too.
I watched it. Yeah.
I
I
watched it
have
at
to
work.
say, the only part I didn't like is chapter 4 because it's chapter
I
4.
get that. I
Like
get
that's
that.
that's with the story. Like he was just talking about it. He's like, oh, and then Countess Dakaru got like the high stakes vampire Kato Thorn time machine.
He's so into it, dude.
Halsey's
It's
got a
crazy.
house in faulty splits. I'm I like you had me lost at Countess Dakaru. Like the
But
everything else,
I
I
what
d-
I- what
yeah,
what
I
I was
did
gonna
not
touch
follow
on for that though
that bit.
is
Yeah,
like I was talking to him about like the amount of work that he's put in, and I've had videos where I've
yeah,
put in like all that I had for it, and it's taken hours and hours and hours, and I find myself like just like, whew, okay, that's good. I mean, it turned out pretty good. I don't want to do that again.
yeah,
How do you? Because but you seem like so happy with it, but I don't like have it personally a project to the extent that either like you or Cyan made. You know what I mean? So I guess I can't relate to that in
yeah,
that sense. But I'm like, I just dread the editing and preparation and stuff. Like my videos are always just come on here, sit down and talk.
yeah. I think the reason I found something like that so fun is because one, there was 6 seasons to it, so I
Yeah,
couldn't really
I
just drop off and
yeah I
go.
could imagine,
Like I,
especially if you're creating something like that, right? It must feel like very exciting.
there's also a desire to give it a good send off as
Hmm.
well. Like I think especially with that final season 6, making that like writing for it, because basically my role in that was I wrote the story for it. I wrote like the voice lines. I did write some of the music. Like I have written a bit of it, but I mainly got another guy to do that. But
Hmm.
yeah, so for stuff like that, I think the thing that keeps me going is the fact that there's a group of people interested in it, and it's not just me. Um, Also getting the opportunity to work with all different people is so cool. Like
Hmm.
I love, like I remember, I'm not sure who it was, but there was a few channels with like I think upwards of like 1 million subs that commented on those videos, and they were like, "This is amazing," and I'm just like, "Oh, okay, wow, I did not expect that at all." Like, yeah, I think seeing that people are interested in it, and it wasn't like a huge group of people, but there was a fan base when the premieres came out. We had 40, 50 people jumping on. I wonder, what's going to happen, because I guess we just did something super unique, and we were all so passionate to continue it.
Hmm. It would help
Like,
that it's in a group setting
especially,
too, eh?
yeah, 100%. And when I got Clark into it, like when he
I know
started
he
doing that
loves
voice
that.
acting, and like he said, I don't know if you saw, we did like a sort of like a summary video of it. It was kind of like a documentary style video where we interviewed the people that were on it and said,
Oh, I didn't see
"Oh,
that.
this was the process of planning it out."
That's cool. That's a
And
good
Clint
idea.
recording, I can send you that after, but
Okay.
the process that Clint went through when doing all the voice acting, he talked about that, and just sort of seeing how much fun he had,
Mm,
and then reflecting on how much fun I had. That's probably my favorite part of stuff like this.
I love
Like
that.
just seeing how everyone else enjoys it just as much as you do.
Mm.
So yeah,
I'm gonna have Clark on this soon, and I want to ask him
that'll be
because about
interesting.
the
Yeah,
about his voice work, because I know he's like he really enjoys
he's
that type of
very
stuff.
into that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
even
yeah,
just when I stream with him in general, all of a sudden I can't do it, of course, but he'll start doing like, oh, I'm
like the
Optimus
Morty
Prime,
voice.
like
Or, yeah, yeah,
just out of nowhere. So
yeah.
I'm curious to ask him about that. I'll try to remember to ask him about like
Mm.
working with you too, because that would make for an interesting conversation, I think.
It would be interesting to see his sort of perspective on it. Yeah,
Yeah, I love that. But anyways, we're heading towards the end here. I want to
yeah.
dive still back into gaming, going full circle here. I want to know what your favorite season of Fortnite is and why.
Chapter 2, Season 7.
Ha! Oh, I did know
Okay.
that.
You did?
Mm.
Oh, okay.
I was,
Okay. Well, for the
I
for the
did know.
cameras, you didn't know that. So I don't think I've told you why though. I don't know if I've really gone into why.
I remember you
So
mentioned it in streams when I was talking about that. You were in chat at one point.
yeah. So I had a really fun group of friends. Oh no, I did say that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But for the people that haven't seen those other streams or whatever, I had a really good group of friends at that time. I talked to a few of them still, but not. Oh, actually, I still talk to two of the three other guys that were in that main squad. But in that season, we just had no responsibilities at that time. It was the last year of our elementary school.
Oh,
We it was just fun. It was just an awesome time to just sit back and just enjoy playing some Fortnite. It was great. It was so good. Like especially I think it's interesting to see how I'm sort of growing up with Fortnite, and then there's people like yourself and Clint that have sort of had it something that's later introduced. Because I think for people my age, it's like a childhood sort of memory, whereas like obviously it's a very different experience, but like even just the events that I've got to experience, like I remember the Season X event. It was when I was in, so I've moved houses quite a few times, but I think it was maybe two houses back. I was in, I was sitting in because I used to share a room with my older brother. We got a bigger house now, so we can split off. But I was sitting there at like 3 a.m. because the times are never convenient for us ever. But
I can
I
imagine.
woke up and sitting there and the media going like just chapter 2 season 7 gave me that feeling of it was the last time that Fortnite for me really felt like I guess that feeling of like it's just that game that you just won't forget. Like I guess OG kind of did that for me as well.
Jakey
But
always describes it really well with the Loot Lounge too. I don't know if you
yeah, yeah,
consume his stuff. He's really good, by the way.
yeah.
I want him to upload more, but he always
He's
describes
taking a
it.
break.
I
Yeah,
know he always describes it as like it's like Christmas morning, one of those special
yeah,
Fortnite moments. It's crazy
100%.
that it could feel
Yeah,
kind of like that, right?
it can feel. It's just like that feeling they've been able to capture, especially with live events.
Mm-hmm.
I don't reckon that's something that people will feel again. I genuinely don't think there's a game that will replicate that.
Oh,
I don't know if
I
they.
thought you meant if Fortnite won't do that again.
Oh, no. I reckon Charlie can do that again,
Yes, okay,
especially
I agree.
considering I think Fortnite can do that again. I don't know if another game can
That's
capture
yeah,
that feeling.
that's what I was agreeing on. I don't think
Yeah.
it's how is that possible? Like,
It's just I was talking to again, I've brought him up a few times, the guy that I've known most of my life, probably actually definitely my closest friend. I was talking to him about just remembering like, oh, when all the cubes started lighting up and we're like, oh my God, it wasn't just like one Kevin or
yeah.
because we
Oh, that
remembered
was so hype,
years
dude.
ago. I remember chapter one, season 4 with him, and we were talking about, oh, I'll gift you the battle pass for your birthday or whatever, like just really stupid, just young kid stuff that I think those events make you sort of feel again. Like I think obviously it more so applies to me because I grew up with Fortnite, but as you said, and as Jake said as well, like that Christmas sort of feeling of just it's just fun. It's just awesome.
You
Like
know
I
it's
think,
special when you can describe it as a Christmas morning experience.
yeah, it's so good. Like
I am curious though because you said Chapter 2 Season 7 was your favorite, and you have those like
yes,
just memories playing with your friends, and that's a great time, right?
yeah,
Why that over OG Fortnite?
because
Because I feel
oh
like when people talk about the memories of their friends, they typically speak about the OG days.
yeah, I think I just didn't. I think I was sort of at an age where I didn't take it in as much, so I don't really remember.
Mm.
Like I love, I do have a very vivid memory of I think chapter 1 season 8 was probably my favorite like of the OG seasons.
Mm.
I remember when that season came out, I
So
pulled up
good.
in my living room like the Apple. I remember I had my Apple TV and I'd refresh to see when the new trailer came out. I remember seeing the Fire King. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy.
Mhm.
So I do remember those, and I think I just knew to enjoy it more when Chapter 2, Season 7
Yeah,
came,
that makes
like those
sense.
later seasons of Chapter 2. I think that's probably why. And also, again, sorry to take a shot at Primal here, but just after not enjoying it much, I think after having a
Oh yeah,
season
because this is right after,
so
I guess, eh?
that was so much focused on like the UFOs and the inflatables and abducted into the mothership and Kevin's, there's rumors of Kevin coming back, and I was making content at the time. It was just, I think it was a great time for the game. It was a great time for me in general. Had a great group of friends, and even the story in that season, like to really build up Sloane there to be what she was throughout, I guess, early chapter 2 days until chapter 4, her coming back. I don't know if that was great. That season wasn't all that, but I think story, gameplay, the event, friends, everything at that time. Just, I think a big part of it would be timing, though. Yeah, like the fact that it's not like I wasn't this age, but I wasn't super young, so I knew to just take it in and just enjoy it. And yeah, I think just overall really, really good memories in that season too.
It was perfect in my opinion, so I completely agree with that. I can
What's
relate to
your
you
favorite?
on my favorite chapter season 7,
Oh,
with a very, very close second of chapter 1 season X.
chapter 2. Oh, I think it's chapter 2 season 2.
That's
Okay.
up there. That's like a top 5. There's
Season X, really? Okay.
I can fire off my favorite ones.
Actually, no, I remember you saying that before the OG season come out. I hope it's all the mechs and everything like that.
Yeah, I
And
wanted
it
a couple
wasn't.
days of it.
It wasn't. Like,
Rift zones,
Season
starry
9 and X
suburbs.
was so... In OG, Season 9 and X was so hard done by. Like, we did not give them... Yeah. There were no
They
rift
were playing it
zones.
safe, probably.
Yeah.
The blowback that they got back in the day
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
absolutely insane. It was a good time though.
Yeah.
It's coincidentally because the reason that I asked you why chapter season 7 with your friends over OG Fortnite is because I've also been playing OG Fortnite and I've had those memories myself, but season X actually is where my best memories are. Coincidentally, I had my brother and two of my best friends, and like I play Fortnite like with a lot of different people, right? But at that time in our life, I was stuck working in an ER, which was a 1 to 11 shift. My other friend was on afternoons.
Wow.
My brother was on afternoons, and my other friend just was working days, but he would stay up. And every single night we would play, and we would drop Tilted Town all night. The first time, no building, no breaking, and we weren't good. So we spent it hiding in rooms, running away from mechs. It was just so good. Like I associate so many good memories with Chapter 1 Season X.
Yeah.
So I get that for a different season.
Memories
Is
is a huge part of it, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Tilted Town. And now we play Zero Build. But the thing is, it doesn't feel the same Zero Build because it was just at one spot. It's never been done before, but you couldn't break anything. So I thought it was really fun.
Oh, I don't even remember. I don't remember properly what Tilted
Town was the Wild West place. And
the,
when
like
you
the
entered
rift zone. Yeah.
You couldn't break anything or build.
I don't remember not breaking anything, but I do remember like the general concept of it. Yeah.
And it was always a hot drop. It was a good time. But I've been keeping you for much longer than I don't know if you had anything to do. So I apologize. I didn't know how long this would go, but we're going a while, which I'm very happy about. Thank you for being here.
To do in 3 hours, but that's about it.
All right. So I have 2 more things for you today.
Yeah.
When you're done with YouTube, streaming, whatever you get into, what do you want your legacy to be? How do you want people to remember you?
Oh. See, I've thought about this a bit, but I think it ties back to the favorite video I was talking about, and also sort of wanting to move into that creative director sort of space. I want to leave an impact on the community in a way that I create something similar to that style of video that a lot of people see. Like it's quite a big thing, and that's not just for like views or whatever. I just think it would be cool to, get something like that out there. And for it to just really, if it could kickstart something like that, like a what if kind of community, because I know there's a lot of, So I think if my work in that sort of creative field could inspire other people to continue to do other things, and it could be like a large scale thing, I think that's what I'd want my impact to be.
I love that.
Like
Let's make it happen.
Because
not that
I just think it's so cool. I was going to ask you about something actually. I might after this, but
unless you want to
I'm not going to do it on here. It's
whatever
just
you want
to do with that creative thing. But yeah,
if you want, if you want it here, I'm open.
I won't do it here, but
no problem, no problem. So, lastly, if you have any closing remarks, I'm going to get you out of here. Anything you'd like to share? Where can people find you?
You can find me on YouTube. Obviously, is the main thing. I have a Discord server that's linked in all the descriptions of every video, channel, about section, whatever. And then also, I've been getting a bit more active on Twitter. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Same.
Other than that,
I've been trying to use Twitter too. I like it.
yeah, it's good.
But one more thing for you. Last thing. Official last thing. Is there anybody that you'd like to see me reach out for this? Anybody in particular? Anybody interesting that you think would be good to talk to?
I have on this show.
Yeah, the get to know thing.
Is there anyone? I think my main person would be Clark, which you're already doing.
He's gonna be an interesting one, that's for sure.
Because I don't know if you know, but me and him have had so many conversations where it's meant to be about Fortnite, and then it's like some 5-hour
He's easy
long.
to talk to, man. It's good. I'm excited for it. So yeah, what I have lined up right now. I don't know the order off the top of my head. I'm getting Cyan, I'm getting Zero BR, I'm getting Clark, Jojo Josiah, and I believe that's it. But I wanna do this like decently. So I'm glad you're here for the second episode. Right after, if anybody's interested, there is going to be more.
PBJ's one too.
Yeah, there is going to be more of this. I already have one with PBJ if you're interested, but which I'm pretty sure that I could do, but it's escaping me at the moment. I will leave a end screen for Tedious to check out the channel on there. I'm pretty sure I can do that. If not, it'll be in the description, the pinned comment down below. Anything you'd like to say before we get out of here, Tedious?
I think that's pretty much it. Thank you for having me.
Well, this has been Getting to Know Tedious on YouTube, and it's been fantastic. Thank you very much for coming to talk. I really appreciate it, and hopefully it wasn't too long for you, because I know we're on the third piece of recording right now, and that's 42 minutes in itself. So I don't know how long that's gonna be.
Oh my god. Okay. Wow.
Awesome, dude. Thank you so much for coming.
No problem.
You know, after we're done this, I did not expect it to be this long, but I'm really glad, because I've also been getting a lot of comments from you guys, which I appreciate, by the way. Please let me know if you'd like to go even longer, because I'm happy to. People have been really enjoying the long form content, so I appreciate you guys all being here. If you've watched this long, thank you so much for being here. It was a really great episode. I really enjoyed talking to Tedious. Dude, it's shocking to me, because I did know his age before oh no, my puppy's dreaming. I don't know if my camera's picking that up. Give me 1 second. He was having a bad dream there. Oh my god, again, I don't know if my mic picked that up, but I might even edit that out. I don't know. Regardless, these videos, it's long form enough. I'm sure I could keep it in, but I knew his age, but it felt like I was speaking to an adult. The dude is crazy. We talked a little bit about self-improvement once we got off the recording there, and it was a really good conversation to have. I love having Tedious on there. I'm really excited about this series, guys. So far, we have lined up, and I want to get so many more people on, guys. I want to get so many more people on. I don't know the order off the top of my head. I believe next is going to be Cyan. We're going to get Clark. We're going to get Jojo Josiah. We're going to get Zero BR. We're going to talk about all of this stuff, content creation. So I suggest that you watch all of these videos that are coming out. I mean, like, of course, if you want to, I'd always be happy to have you watch my video. But if you want to get to know the people behind the camera, get some YouTube advice, people who have learned stuff throughout their journey. You know, I think it's a really good conversation. So again, I want this to be an opportunity for everybody to get to know the person behind the camera, and I feel like we did that very well with Tedious today. So I'm very excited. Tedious, if you happen to be watching this, I cannot thank you enough for being part of this. It's been an honor to talk to you. I'm sure we will continue speaking. But guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Drop it down below in the comment section if there's anybody else that you would like to see and what you thought about the episode. Is there anything in particular that you liked? Is there anything about Tedious that you didn't know, that you're happy that you got to know? Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I believe that I can do it on the screen right now. If it's not Tedious, then it's something from my channel, because I couldn't put Tedious on there, but I'm going to try to put Tedious on there. Thank you so much for coming, guys. Take care.